Hello everyone, welcome back to the RationInvestor.com's Weekend Frivolity. This is our Broiler Chicken Show. Why do we call it Broiler Chickens? Why not? Just gonna wait and see if
Weekend
YouTube
Frivolity.
kicks in. And it looks like it has kicked. So see a few people over there on YouTube. I'll try and keep the page open. If you want to post a question there, I'll see if I can keep an eye on that. Also got the lounge up and running, so by all means, if you're on the site and you want to post a question or comment there, maybe the feed kicks out or something. Hello, Omar. Nice to see you. Feel free to post there, and as well, of course, we've got. I think we have a pretty regular crew here. In fact, actually, there's one gentleman here that I'm super impressed with. Basically, came to crypto right at the top of the market. Bought the story. What do they say? Hook, line, and sinker. And I'm exceedingly pleased to see that day in, day out, he's just working his craft. And I think finally he's actually going to get to see what a bull market actually looks like in crypto. God, it's been forever for these people. And I'll tell you, I mean, the site itself was absolutely flooded at the end of the last cycle. And our business basically is going to follow the cycle, and it is fairly crypto oriented. So the numbers don't surprise me at all. And I'll tell you, I mean, even myself, I feel the discouragement and the frustration and the even somewhat to a certain degree the anger at the volatility of venture capital. Try desperately, to try and slow people down and get them working with plans. And if you took 5% of your money that you threw at this crypto idea and just slowly picked away at ideas and took the past couple of years to load up. Actually, ironically enough, I think you set yourself up in a pretty good position here. You can blame it on planetary cycles, Jupiter, Saturn crosses, Pluto, Saturn crosses. You can blame it on very you can almost feel the temperature of the world being ratcheted up one place after another, falling into societal chaos. You can blame it on the OK Boomer movement. I can literally see the millennials saying, "All right, Boomers, you're into retirement now. Go away. It's our turn." It's fascinating to watch everything play out. It sure feels like we're coming to the end of an apex. And as someone pointed out here in the lounge here just a second ago, probably the biggest pain of all of this is, ironically enough, nothing really to do with the actual cryptocurrencies themselves and everything to do about the system. How were these exchanges, going to, how do we say this? This is an unregulated space. We knew it was almost like you had AC/DC, you're crossing wires. If crypto is going to be mass adopted, how was this integration into the world system going to look? And I think basically the past 2 years has been that demonstration. I don't even think it's over yet. There's still lots more curveballs to go. But what I really do like here is that individual stories, if you measure your cryptocurrency versus US dollar, not just against Bitcoin, we're seeing some really, really interesting price action that, like I said, do you call it, Pluto, Saturn cross? Do you call it generational shifts? Whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But something is coming to a big apex here in crypto land. And, you know, that sort of, big picture, macro sort of drivers kind of stuff, kind of conversations. I mean, really, none of us really know where the hell any of this is going. I heard someone even today in a video say, "Well, does Bitcoin go the route of MySpace?" And what's interesting is there have been actually a few different attempts at digital currencies, but it's very centralized ledgers. So as a result, they kind of failed. I can't remember the names. There was one famous one here in Canada that landed flat on its face. Or does this become the new standard for our world? Tough to say right now, but sure is an interesting journey nonetheless. But I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that when we actually go look at the price charts and we just let price itself tell us, we're seeing a lot of these crazy ass W's coming in here, and off higher time frame basis. In fact, we were talking in the lounge this morning, and the gentleman that I referred to earlier, he joyously announced that he finally is getting paid on these goddamn cryptocurrencies that he invested. Buy these damn W's. When am I going to make money, Brian? So nice to see that this gentleman was reporting that he's banging out doubles. And I mean, this is a weekly price chart. If we look at the daily chart, hopefully everybody's been watching Brian long enough. I mean, you can see the beautiful bottom and breakout and run here. But what I'm kind of seeing, which is quite shocking to me, and we haven't seen this in a very long time, is we're actually starting to get crazy things like monthly W's starting to form here. And if you look at something like this from a monthly, and this may not be the best place to look at this, but all I really care about is, gee whiz, look at that. So, ironically enough, what is technical analysis supposed to do? A lot of people get sucked into the trap of thinking that technical analysis is supposed to predict the future, and that any good technician is going to tell you exactly where the market's going to go at any given point in time. That's a load of horse hockey. I did hear someone, though, recently articulate this, and I thought it was perfect. And the great part about TRI website is this was a resource that somebody found on the net, and they shared it with the community, and they were like, hey, just listen to this guy's perspective. What do you think? And I can't remember the gentleman's reference just off the top of my head. I'm sure whoever's watching and posted in the lounge. And if I'm not mistaken, I actually think the guy's an old TRI student, which kills me, who actually put the videos together. But he said it perfectly well. And I want to say Crypto Creed or CREED or something along those lines. I can't remember just off the top of my head. But he just simply said in his video, look, at technical analysis is a risk management tool. That it identifies that if you're going to take a risk in the market, where's the highest probability to actually take that risk and see that your idea works? And you've got actually defined risk levels where the market's going to clearly tell you, sorry, you were wrong. And that's where, especially this concept of W's, it's such a simple concept. And yet, really, that's what it is, you don't know what the hell's going to happen through here. I mean, this is looking at a monthly chart, right? You don't know what's going to happen here. But at least now that these W's come in, you can say, well, okay, if I take a risk somewhere in here, maybe I wait for the monthly breakout, I don't know. And then I risk against the floor of the W. Well, at least now I have sort of a defined risk window where I bought, and I'm simply going to say, look, at the market stopped going down off of this level twice and actually turned around and started going up. So maybe there's some serious support in here. So now I actually have a risk window to actually work with. Where, okay, well, I'm going to take my shot. This is my risk window that I'm going to take my shot off. Here, you don't know where the risk window is. Is it against here? Well, that was one low, and boosh, second test of the low. See you later. So, it's kind of a weird start to the video, but I wanted to highlight, first off, and I've said this repeatedly, and it was great to hear somebody in the lounge this morning said, Yep, as soon as you were barking about that a while ago, Brian, I stopped looking at the coins versus Bitcoin, started looking at them versus US dollar. So I do think you're seeing a lot of this. But I mean, this RLC, it doesn't give a rat's ass what Bitcoin's doing right now. I mean, it's marching to its own drummer. Um, and I mean, what the hell? That's a four-fold increase off of that W right there. I mean, does it care what Bitcoin's doing right now? Clearly not. And like the tweets and stuff that I've been putting out recently is I love the idea of this being a coin picker's market. And this was a beautiful example again. In the lounge, constantly throwing around these ideas. It was great to see people talking about getting paid on their crypto investments. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So, where do these free videos on weekends, where do I usually like to take them? And sort of part of our conversation there a moment ago, I do like to just sort of review what I've sort of said recently here on Twitter. And just to put some context into it, if people are like having questions about some of these tweets and stuff that I put out recently. Hopefully you guys have watched this long enough, these free videos, that you sort of see a very consistent pattern in the way that I look at things. And of course, in our education program, and sort of, a tout for our education program. As I said, students in the education program, they, and this one gentleman is perfect, excellent example where, it's patient, disciplined, day in, day out, came to the crypto market at the very top of the market, has had just an incredible amount of patience and discipline to ride with things like crazy Trex nonsense and U.S. regulator, issues. And I guess what I've, like the big selling feature of what we do here at TRI is we try and at least help you put a framework around, why you're investing in this space, how you're going to go about it, what kind of risk are you going to take, so that you can stay focused. I saw somebody, I was watching a video earlier today, and it was on, and this is a fun site. I think, all at TRI, or especially students, if you're crypto oriented, I really like this website Kevin found for us, which just sort of aggregates news. But this gentleman's video, which I thought was, fairly poignant. I didn't actually get to watch the end of it, but he's actually got some sort of things to worry about if you think Bitcoin's going to blast to new highs here. But I did like the fact that he kept posting the Apple video, Steve Jobs, keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the prize. Because I kind of think that that's what sort of crypto is going through right now. Is that, all the looky-loos, they're gone. Why did you get involved in this space to begin with? Does your story have some sort of fundamental value? And then finally, can you actually start seeing the market telling you that, hey, I want to start going up versus wanting to go down? And that's that whole sort of weekly W's kind of conversation. So, like I said, part of this conversation here today is just to simply, if somebody does have a question about anything that I put on here, I know I've had a lot of people express interest in the symmetry tweets that I put out. And then also, too, the purpose of this video and, current level oneers. I know, Peter, you're in level one. You are our contest winner. And, geez, what a fantastic addition to the site. This Peter gentleman has been helping people out immensely. So thank you for your assistance on the site, writing scripts for us. He wrote us this funny little day trader script recently that I've been using to help illustrate what a day trader's life looks like. But other level oneers, if you happen to be on YouTube watching, This is also supposed to be a session for you guys. If you have any follow-up questions, what did you guys do this week? Did you do MACD divergences using the histogram? So, if there are any further questions with regard to that, the public is far, far bigger. Love it. All right. Yes, MACD this week. Okay. Oh, Teresa, you're also in the program too, eh? If you guys have any other follow-up questions about that and the whole concept of identifying divergence, feel free to ask. I'll leave that, and you over there on YouTube. Yep. Okay. Oh, I see you, Joseph and Paul. Omar asks here, statistically, do you think the halvening will more likely overinflate the price, and do you think it's going to get priced in beforehand? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the irony of it all is that's just basically, I got to pull out my crystal ball here. So, predicting the future. And of course, if I say the price goes up and it goes down, then I look like an idiot. If I say the price is going to go down and it goes up, I look like an idiot. Ironically enough, I only have this is actually a really good analogy of sort of being a broker and how it was always, always, always dangerous when people, at least then, you were allowed to officially give your advice because you were a financial advisor, licensed and registered and all that kind of stuff. Here, of course, no financial advice, right? This is public broadcast, educational, not financial advice. This is what I'm doing with and that's the way I like to address this, is if I'm going to talk about a trade, it's because I'm actually putting my money in the trade, and I'm just simply talking about my trade. And if you want to see anything on Twitter, anything whatsoever, I'm never telling people what to do. I'm just simply saying, look, this is how I lose my money. Isn't that a great way to lose money, everybody? Anyway, but at least I'm honest, right? And it's my money when I'm talking about stuff in the market. So if I was preparing with my money for this halvening event, I actually really like the idea, and this is just me, okay? Call me an idiot. I don't know. I actually really do like the idea of us finally dumping down into reload zones, because keep in mind, this Mountain Man level hasn't been tagged yet. And that actually, they set up everybody all raw long, and then you get your big dump, and it's like, oh, it's the end of the world, all right, this kind of stuff. And that actually sets up the bottom over, say, the next month or two for the rally into the halvening event. Now, how violent of a move up that is, I got a sneaky suspicion that the halvening event, if we do happen to come down into these levels, it's going to set up a pretty nice rally. They're going to talk about in hindsight that the price of Bitcoin doubled on the halvening event rally kind of stuff. But I don't know whether I can really buy the argument of seeing new highs. And I know people in crypto don't really like to hear that. But if I was going to be setting myself up and I wanted to see a bullish scenario, I like a dump here to break all the crypto kids' hearts and then a rally following the dump. Now, there have been some studies, and actually I even pulled up this over the weekend because I wanted to see if I could find some of my old studies. There are some studies that are sort of suggesting that scenario is not going to happen. Where the hell is it? They're around here somewhere. There it is. This is actually what the correction and and I tweeted this out, and I haven't talked about this. I haven't looked at this chart in a while, but this is actually what sort of, if you believe in the whole sort of, the matrix, the way our universe is constructed, if I understand correctly, our whole universe is built on triangles. And this is a fun study using the fib spiral and this idea that every single triangle is actually broken into two triangles, And it just goes on and on and on into infinity, and you can pretty much go all the way down to like the microscopic level to see this. And the way that price sort of naturally corrects after a big move, it has to go through this triangle process. We lost the triangle to a certain degree there over that last, the end of the summer. And I noticed that the market violently tried to recapture it. If we do lose these lows and we start moving lower in earnest, then that means that whole sort of bullish thesis of the triangle is gone. And I still think that we're stuck in this triangle thesis. So I don't know. But it's interesting, like I sort of said, nice little counter trend rallies into happening events kind of idea. I don't know whether or not we can see new highs right now. I think we're just we're going to brush up against these levels, maybe even get up into 78.6s. But I don't know. The problem here right now for me, and so to answer that question specifically, is I don't think I can actually really start even realistically thinking about upside objectives until we actually have officially bottomed. And I don't know where the end of this is, right? And I got a sneaky suspicion that we're probably going to have to retrace a big chunk of this. It's a really interesting battle zone right here. I was a bit surprised to see this W come in here overnight. Maybe that sets up some sort of counter trend rally back up against these highs. Maybe this is a big honk and AB equals CD that takes us way up top, but we've gone beyond 66%, so sadly, I can't really think trend continuation. So in the short term, I'm stuck. I don't know whether I feel comfortable with us even saying that we have bottomed yet. Where's the chart I wanted to show you? Darn, where was I? There was a really good chart I was thinking. Well, I wanted to show you that no man's land chart. Where the hell is it? Maybe it's over here. Too many charts, man. It's gonna explode. There we are. With regard to Bitcoin, I still think we're in no man's land. This is extremely dangerous in here. For me to actually start thinking about, okay, we bottomed, okay, now how high is this happening event rally gonna be? I gotta see some sort of signs of bottom, and everything right now still says to me we're pointing down. And maybe if we're really lucky, maybe the happening event rally looks something like AB equals CD, something like that. But what does that start looking like? And this is what worries me, is that is now starting to look like this. And I know this is messy. I drew this harmonic on here forever ago. And, I don't know whether we have to come all the way down here. Maybe yes, maybe no. There is the happening event rally. Maybe this happens a lot faster. But this is just a horrible location for us to either call bottoms or call tops. Because, I don't know whether we have to come all the way back down to the bottom. But, I would, and actually there's a, full disclosure for you guys over on YouTube. There's a couple guys on the site that we're putting a plan together. And I would like to see a nice big ugly dump here so we can go buy a whole shitload of call options. Because I do think that there is potential for a nice rally on the other side, just if nothing more than just to complete this harmonic. But I can't, saying, okay, the market's a buy here, the market's a sell here. This is sort of half the problem you have, especially with, you turn on the news channel, right? And they always have to have okay, well, this happened because of this, and this is what you should do right now kind of thing. And the problem here is when I look at this, there's really not much new to tell you guys. The message that I said last Broiler Chicken Show is exactly the same. So I got to sit here and come up, okay, what new can I say this week? When really the message really hasn't changed. So I have to see some sort of bottom, something in here to actually say, okay, well, maybe we've started to pivot and we can starting to accept higher. And then we can start thinking about having event rallies. But right now, as it stands, I got nothing to work with here. So it sucks, Omar. I mean, that's the answer I got to give you. If everything was normal, and that's usually how the market goes, the market usually rallies about 4 or 5 months ahead of the event. And I've noticed I've gone through about at least a half a dozen of these happenings, whether it be Litecoin or Bitcoin or whatever. And the market usually tops out about a month ahead of the halving event. Exactly where the top's going to come in, I haven't even got a clue. What price looking out into May. I mean, I honestly just don't have a clue. I don't have anything setting up here to give me a gauge or a guide. But ironically enough, when the bottom comes in and the buy signal comes in, it'll be pretty obvious. It'll be a nice big fat volume breakout. Like if I'm not mistaken, like this last bottom. I remember we had one student who's basically a landed aristocrat in Germany now. He's done very, very well in this crypto story. He was going all over Twitter. Oh my God, look at this bullish divergence. You better get in there, buy your goddamn Bitcoins. And, there was the end result. And of course, Willie nice and stupid. All the level oneers. Peter, you're in level 1. Teresa, you're in level 1. Do you see this MACD divergence? Can you understand the logic of this now? Low lows in price, higher lows in MACD. Big old W confirms here. Start getting ready for something to rock and roll. What do you think, Teresa? Peter? Colleen, you've done the... I think you actually just... Well, no, I didn't want you to take this trade. The purpose of the education program is that you now understand this. So the question is, do we have a bullish divergence right now to work with? Nope. There's nothing really here yet. All right, how about Willie? Is Willie nice and stupidly oversold? Well, no, Willie's sitting right now, and you'll learn this next week, sitting minus 64, so nothing really to get excited about there. How about volume? OBV. Are we making higher highs and higher lows or lower highs and lower lows? This kind of looks dangerous in here on OBV. 342 was the raw reading there, and now we are at 341.9. Uh-oh, don't want to see that M out. I mean, it was encouraging to see the bulls did try and come awake on this one candle, but not any follow-through following that, so that's a little disappointing. So, even the internals are sort of like, meh, well, that's the weird thing, though, is... somebody over there, EKZOTIC, says bit stamp chart looks like it hit 61.8 in reverse. The weird part about this, and I can't figure this out, is did this mountain man level actually get hit? And I'm baffled by this. So the high there is 13,880. So let's see. Maybe I've got my study numbers wrong. Let's just make sure these numbers are correct. And you can clearly see Mountain Man got hit there. So I can't even read what that number says. 13,880, so that's correct. And the low was 31.22.28. 31.22.28. So that's correct. So if that's the case, then 61.8 Fibonacci retracement is 72.31 73. And you see this low, 72.93.55. Wait a minute. That's like 60, $70 away. I don't think Mountain Man's been hit here yet. I know that there's some people on the site that said that their Mountain Man levels were hit on their respective exchanges, but I don't know. And then the problem here, of course, is that this is a V bottom, right? That's a new low. So, at the very least, do we actually have to maybe go down and test that low? And then, Brian, wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can see how they opened it up. They went in and explored that wick a little bit. Do they have to come down and maybe explore this tail a little bit? So the probability, and then, of course, like what I've been sort of squawking about for the past couple of weeks is, this is an inside bar reversal. Remember, a few weeks ago, I was hunting longs off of this level, and I said, look, I'll stay long, but if this level's lost, I'm out of here. So that level was lost, I'm gone. And of course, I mean, this is the same thing we've talked about repeatedly. I mean, it drives you crazy. There's not a heck of a lot new to say here. But moving averages, are they helping our cause? Are they feeling bullish or bearish? Right, we'll throw on fudge. Right, and now we're actually going to get 2-bar confirmation now. So we had last week, beep. Okay, so how are we going to finish this week? There's got to be a kick-ass fucking rally here, or else we're going to get like 2-bar confirmation of this bear. And actually, it's interesting. Earlier today, I was, just for fun, pulling up some of the charts just to sort of see what they look like. And I mean, you see what happens. Bear, lower. Bear, lower. Bear, lower. Bear, generally sideways. Bear, lower. Bear, lower. Bear, lower. So, the big boy just flashed a bear signal. So, I mean, these moving averages take some time to develop. And, like I said, if we can get some sort of kick-ass rally here before the end of today and get ourselves out of here, maybe we can have that cross back bullish. But the weight is definitely to the downside here right at the moment. Brian's just a big old party here today, eh? Woo! So somebody asked me, what do I think about sort of halving event rally prospects? I do really like the idea of a dump. Maybe even probe these lows. Worst part about it here is if we do dump, this could be pretty ugly here. If we're really lucky, right, we dump against these lows, test this candle body low level, and start carving out a nice little W here. But wow, this is going to take a lot of work to clean up. It sucks. As sort of I said there a moment ago, was thinking long on the fail of this inside bar, now thinking short. I thought it was interesting to see through the week that our little day trader model started to get back all excited on the short side. So really that kind of makes sense with all those, those key support. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. With the key support levels taken out, we got the dailies flashing bear. The 4 hours have been bear forever. And the 1 hour's flash bear there, so you can see why the signals went bear. Getting a little bit of action, and if anything, this is actually such a good analogy of this market. I think I don't know whether I've talked to you guys in the public about this, but we say this on the site all the time. Bull markets, everybody makes money. Bear markets, nobody makes money. Right, so and a warning for all sort of new people to trading. If you are even thinking about going day trading, you got to understand this is the kind of market state we're in. Big face rip rallies in one candle, right, and then the next 30 hours of just grind down. big spikes one candle and then just grind down, big spikes down, then grind up. And then, of course, this is stopwatch central. And, I do remember when we were going through here, this actually was a nice little profit objective for a day trade. But then, and I was hunting trend continuation trades, and I get these crazy ass candles that totally mess up my pattern, so I can't do anything. And I remember like middle of last week, we had this range set up off of these nutso wicks and tails. So basically just saying, look, be careful here. If you're going to hunt shorts, hunt that candle body level. If you're going to hunt longs, hunt that candle body level. Wicks and tails like to get eaten. Really good dead cat bounce. In this case, they rallied the market straight up into the top end of the range and then rolled it over. And on the rollover and the test of the bottom end of the range, there were cute little day trades that set up. And this was an awesome analogy of, I used to work with traders where you'd have a massively down market, and yet at the end of the day, the trader's like, well, I'm up $500 and I was long only. And you're like, crude's down like $1.50 on the day. Just big red candles everywhere, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that? Well, this is a perfect analogy where guys like Mountain Man wait for W's, buy the Mountain Man or 61.8 fib tags, sell half of the position on trades back to the mean, move their stop to scratch on the remaining. They get stopped out at scratch on the remaining. So what? They're still profitable on the day. So really good lessons here of even, how do you trade ranges and actually be profitable in a down market. I'm noticing also too, forge to new lows, break everybody's hearts, and then right on the other side of that, big snapback rallies right back up into resistance zones. Very choppy trade. And this, right, all this choppiness, and then, like I said, right on the other side of that, there's so many people that probably bought this that got their hearts broken. Then the market just quickly ratchets right back up, and they all go, oh, fuck it, I was right, I knew this was a bottom, and they FOMO buy, and then they get their hearts broken again. This is exactly why we call this no man's land, because this is extremely difficult trading in here. This is like the odds of it flipping back and forth and running stops and just breaking people's hearts, making big bets in here. This is extremely dangerous and difficult. So it shouldn't surprise us that we look at these charts and we see fake double bottoms with big blasts off, FOMO, get back in only to get your heart broken again. I mean, that's this market state, in my opinion. So once again, they did it again. So big range, and here we go again. Now, I thought what was interesting about this one, remember this one here, they rallied it right up into the top end of the range and then broke it. So this go round, and of course, they say history rhymes, but it never repeats. So this go round, they bottom in the bottom end of the range, and now they're taking it back up to the top end of the range. And what I'm worried about here, because keep in mind, this sort of trend line that really actually got going, right? I mean, hell, you can see the channel. It's pretty damn wide. We could probably just draw some really simple trend line resistance here. We're coming up into interesting areas here where if we can accept above this fast trend line here, I think we got it. We got a shot of taking a stab up top here. And I'm wondering, this might be sort of your classic sort of like bat pattern. Or, this is what I'm kind of thinking, is a nice 127.6 tag here just to drive everyone crazy. I think that could actually be in the works here as well. Because you see how wide this channel is. It's huge. So just to piss everybody off, we do have a half decent looking little W down here working, could we get a nice little dead cat bounce rally, run some stops of all these people that are convinced this is a bear up against this original M top? Sure, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But this is the market state, and keep in mind, I'm looking at like a 15-minute chart, right? So, there's higher time frames. I've said this repeatedly, extremely dangerous, no man's land kind of trading, and this is what sort of no man's land trading looks like. These harmonic patterns, ironically enough, are PRZ short trade locations. All right, so this is a PRZ short trade location. So anybody who's done the level 3 program with us trading their harmonics, they're actually getting ready to hit this thing. They might hit it here, but I got a sneaky suspicion that Bitcoin wants this, not that one. Bitcoin wants 1.276. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? It's an outlandish prediction, but I got a funny feeling we could easily rally back up to 9 G's on this thing. And why do I sort of say that? Well, we do have this interesting little double bottom that's come in here. And, usually after these moving average checks, where the hell's the damn chart? I hate when I lose these charts. Well, I guess we can use this one. It's not a bad little W, right? I could almost see that, like London kill zones. I got a funny feeling that's going to be a really interesting level for us to keep an eye on. And probably, I don't know if this has exhausted itself here through the day, but we should probably see if these line up with things like reload zones. Yeah, what a coincidence. So if you do want to try and play some sort of bottom in here, lower time frames, day trader, all that kind of talk, my hunch is probably longs are going to set up somewhere around this 8,400 here on stamp. And with the, like I said, that ultimate up here, 78.6 would be somewhere up in that area. Right, and that would just be a reload zone against that. Whoops, actually I screwed that up. So all this is just a zoomity zoop up into there. So let's watch how we act up in this sort of 86 to 8,700 area here. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. That wick peak there looks like an interesting level. And what I found interesting is it's a little bit early, and of course, anybody's thinking about trading this, you better have a bulletproof trading plan and be pretty sharp. But I am sort of seeing potential bots here. So AB, CD, up top there, yeah. So I could see, one. I think this actually looks like the lowest low. So 1, 2, 3. You might get a nice little trend continuation push up into that sort of 8,700 area here. That wouldn't surprise me. And if you're thinking about hunting, trying to sneak in on the long side, my hunch is probably keep an eye on this sort of 8,400 area. So those are two areas that if I was thinking about actually hunting like trade setups to go short against these highs and to buy against these lows, there's a nice window. And the really lower time frame, Daniels of the world, they might even trade this up here, but that's a tough one. Can't really say yes or no. So, there's your market. I think top of the range here in the short term looks like about 8,700. Bottom of the range about 8,400. All right. Well, I don't know whether that helped any of you guys. Sure hope so. But, I think the message that I've sort of said all along here is, for the higher time frame position, hey, I just want to buy my Bitcoins and one day we go to Lambo Land. Well, I think you got to be patient in here. There's no real hurry. Let's see. I gotta say, I'm liking the look of these W's coming in on these bigger altcoin indexes. This is long, slow developing. Julian's been having some interesting comments in his baby powder report about RSI studies off of these altcoin indexes, and I've been putting out a lot of these kind of tweets, like this. Look at this crazy ass one, Lend. I mean, this is measured in Bitcoin. But, Bitcoin's just doing its little dance. La, 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 la. Could you have enjoyed a nice little capital gain there? Ironically enough, a lot of people, like 1 year ago, got really angry at me for saying, don't invest in altcoins because you're just going to get absolutely destroyed relative to Bitcoin. Well, here's a situation where it's the exact opposite. And got to tell you, this is how the OGs in the crypto space made their bazillions, gazillion, jazillion, fracillion dollars, right? Bitcoin does its thing, but, what is this? That's 52 goddamn sats, and here we are at 300 sats. Maybe go take your original investment, throw it back into Bitcoins, and just see where the hell this thing takes it. You never know. So just as nasty as the past year to year and a half has been going one direction, you might actually see the pendulum swing back the other direction. And really, half of your job as a trader is just to make damn sure that you can be in the position to take advantage of this if and when it finally does come. Always, try and keep a little bit of powder dry. Don't go ahead and, if you notice that your dry powder is reducing, well, just reduce your bet size. So that proportionately, maybe your bet size is proportionate to the amount of dry powder that you have. Anyway, the point of the matter here is, wow, there are some incredibly powerful altcoin stories right now. I'm not really one to comment on fundamentals. So you know me, I'm like a price chart kind of guy. I did like that there was one gentleman, I guess I won't mention his name, but he put out a video recently about how he really likes this particular altcoin from a fundamental perspective. I've always liked this guy. I've been long this guy pretty much the entire time we've been in crypto. And gone through its ups and downs, and once you get free positions, I don't really care what happens to the rest of it. I just I'm along for the ride. But I am seeing more and more of this anecdotal evidence. Again, this thing's being priced in US dollars. There's probably, what is this thing? It's 93 cents. Could it go to $5? These old high years, 2.5. If we can clear through that, man, the sky's the limit. I don't know where the hell the damn thing's going. But I definitely can see bottoms. And really, again, remember I said, what is technical analysis good at? If you were hunting this W, down, up. Well, at least the W just helps you frame your risk. That's going to be my risk window. Where is the ultimate upside? If we just draw simple 50% rules of this range, maybe you say originally there's going to be my target. So now, using technical analysis, I've identified my trading range. There's my risk, and there's my potential reward. So I put out a tweet earlier today saying, you just never know what's going to happen. I think you can make the argument we came up and tried to W here. Could you have been goaded into buying that and you would have been stopped out here? Yep. That could definitely have happened, right? You could have said, well, Brian, I listened to your W talk and I took this W and I got stopped out. That's definitely a trader's life. And actually, what? This actually is a perfect analogy of W's. Because I find that W's work, I'm going to say maybe 60-70% of the time, somewhere in there. So here's a really good example. 3 W's. One didn't work. The second one worked partially, and ironically enough, you're actually still in the trade because the bottom never was broken. And then the third one, So this is actually a really good analogy of a trader's life. 2 out of 3 working, that's 66%. And that's basically what we need to do to, have a setup where we can have some sort of terrible sixes, I know. Some sort of confidence that, if we do employ this strategy, that more than 50% of the time are going to be right. Like I said, I think W's are the shit. I've been working with them forever. And we're not really coming in here, especially here, right? We're not coming in here saying we're guaranteed to be making money. In this case, we had to, pony up and get stopped out. In this case, that high was 23. We worked up to a high of 93. So holy crap. That was like a 4-fold increase. Could you have gotten yourself a free position out of this? Sell half on a double? I think so. Here we are again. This W was at 25, 26 we'll call it. Here we are at 84. Could you have gotten a double, a free position out of this? I think so. So, this is what, this is the backbone of what we teach. And regardless of whether you actually trade this or not, what I really would like for you, everybody who watches this video, is just see the message of the forest through the trees. What's going on here in the crypto space? I mean, if crypto is going out of business, if this was all a scam, if it's all going to zero, this should not be happening. All right? Getting you to sell your coins at a discount, freaking the public out, right? That's the hallmarks of actually the institutions buying, which is ironic, right? And of course, and yeah, I mean, as somebody just posted in the lounge, we are money managers. I mean, if you bought these W's and you sold half on a double, in this case you got stopped out, this case you won, this case you won. Technically, you actually have a full free position here. This is why I really like this sort of idea, trying to sell half on a double. Then that way, you don't even really care what happens to the rest of it, and you can just forget about it. Little old lady called, and she wants her sats back. Well, I'll tell you this. If the little old lady stepped in on this thing over the past few years, I would tell her, look at, please, just leave it alone. Don't do anything. Just leave it alone. This son of a bitch could be like way up here. So, this is it's an interesting case study in crypto. And I, frankly speaking, I like the story, and I am long, so we'll see where it takes us. This is kind of hindsight. You can't go in and pull the trigger now. I mean, gee whiz, we're way off the bottom. So, the question is, are there any other names that are maybe Wing out? I picked up a little bit of this guy off of his weekly W, but I'll buy some more if he comes back down to the bottom end of the range. Really interesting action there. You'll notice I was talking to you guys about, look at this, the V chain. Everybody's in love with that one. You can see that this one went to a new low, though, so I don't know whether it's ready to quote-unquote W or not. Love this Wabi. I mean, look at that beautiful W. I mean, that's textbook. Auger, cute little W there. Picked up a couple of these, just look so sweet. This was Kevin's idea recently. Hopefully everybody can see the W there. I was like, all right, I'll be a cheap ass and throw in some stink bids. Feeling pretty good about that trade. I noticed this little storage is starting to perk up here a little bit now. I actually went and just, I saw this and I said, and it was up in here, and I was just like, screw it. I just want to buy the damn W. I bought it. Could I have reload zoned this thing? Totally. Hindsight, of course, always 20/20, but fuck people. Learn this reload zone stuff. I mean, it is so powerful. But anyway, it looks like he's getting ready to do something here, so we'll see what happens there. So, like we showed you a couple examples where they're gone and you can't look at them. Well, here are a few examples. They're just sitting there. It's almost like they're just waiting for permission. Somebody just says green light, go, and away they go. And of course, good old Doge. Doge. I love Doge. They've got their summer conference coming up here this year. I think they do it once every couple of years. I did buy some back here last spring, and I kind of fucked the trade up. We better put adult content on this video because I've dropped a few swears here today. So I'm not, and I haven't put any tweets or anything about this setup because I didn't take it. I was already in a trade, so I'm not going to comment on this trade in particular, but it's there, right? I mean, it's staring you right in the face. I still like the idea if you can pick up some Doge below 30 sats. I think that's a great deal for next summer. I'm reluctant to mention this one because I do, I'm just going to leave Ubic alone. It's only traded on Trex, and that's the problem there. They might be traded on some like minor exchanges elsewhere, but I know when I mentioned this in the lounge, and a lot of people went through a lot of pain with what BitterX did to investors over the past year or two. Extremely painful. And I'm wondering whether, BitterX has really completely shot themselves in the foot over all of this. But I'm really interested in this name, but it's only listed on Trex, and it's like, so be careful around Ubic, but interesting coin nonetheless. So, I mean, you look at the screen and you can see them. I mean, they're there. Whether you decide to participate or not, that's entirely up to you and your plan. Thought it was interesting sort of finish off that kind of thought about coins that are trying to bottom. Somebody on TRI site, and this is where I absolutely love this whole idea of 1 + 1 = 3, TRI lounge. Even as I'm speaking here, guys are posting in the lounge ideas. Should I talk about your idea there, Kevin? And Casey's also got one. So it's so cool. The ideas are constantly flying around TRI. It's great. I mean, it's an absolute wealth of information. And these guys are in there banging out doubles. I even posted yesterday like this legend, right? And I love this about TRI. I taught the concepts. People are employing the concepts, and they're kicking ass. And I even said, I'm not in this trade, but people yesterday were like, woo, banging out doubles, look at me, I'm the shit, right? So, I mean, it works, and it's actually a lot of fun to wake up and just scroll through the lounge and just see what the hell people are doing. So, to that end, I mean, I'm not going to endorse these names. No idea about the fundamentals on either of these. But somebody was in the lounge posting, hey, you know what? These are, they're looking interesting. I like the idea of measuring your coin versus USD. I think it's a bit dangerous measuring it versus BTC. If we change this to a line chart, right, hopefully so you see the battle trying to come in here. You see the battle last time and how that translated into this rally. So, if you are interested in the fundamental story, take a good look. Not telling you what to do with your money. You make your own decisions based on your own plan. But I am liking the look of what's going on here. If we do things like throw on TA templates, you can see Willie is nice and stupid. What's the public doing? Usually the public is doing the exact opposite. Somebody came in here, had a serious appetite to buy. Who can tell me what this is? And actually, let's leave this just open to current level oneer. So, Teresa, you can answer this. Peter, you can answer this. I'm not sure. Cole and Chris and Rocker, I know you're not level 1, but do we have any signs of divergence here? I'm going to make that nice and easy for you. Maybe over at YouTube, can you see a divergence here? No one? Yeah, I put everything else away. I sure hope you can see this. So something is disconnected here. I mean, look at OBV just kicking ass. Money is pouring into this thing, and yet you can see it actually made lower lows here. So there's something disconnected here. And remember I told you about the guy who was a student, and he made so much money from TRI that he actually was able to quit his job and move back to Germany and become like a landed aristocracy there now. When he was a student in the TRI program, he said, "Why on earth would I trade with anything other than OBV divergences? They're so incredibly powerful." Unfortunately, just because the market is in divergence, that doesn't mean it is and it's guaranteed to go up. But I got to tell you, I mean, the writing is on the walls here. And I mean, I'm not expecting new highs, but, just a test of things like candle body highs. Geez, you've heard Brian talk lots about that. Start getting some levels to be interested in. If we do things like reload zones, if I really wanted to short this thing, notice, isn't that interesting? Look how the range, the 50% level, is those candle body highs. What a coincidence. If we do things like reload zones, we can see if I was an institution and I wanted to short this thing into the ground, where am I going to step up and defend? Well, that's way up here. Now, this is probably a good example, like this range here. So if we went reload zone off of this range, notice that rally into that area. If I was an institution and I wanted to stop the bull rally, where would I do that? Right in that reload zone. So I don't know whether we're ready to go up into here yet, but it just sort of shows you, I mean, gee whiz, there sure is a lot of potential in this space. So again, that technical analysis, right? At least when you're hunting for W's, what it's simply doing is saying, maybe you traded this W because it looks like it went down, up, down, breakout. So maybe you're already long, right? And you say, okay, well, I'm going to buy the break of that level and I'm going to risk to a break of that level. And all technical analysis does is it just simply says, look, there's a window here of, this actually isn't the terriblest place to make a bet that the market's going to go up versus the market going down. And you have your line in the sand that clearly tells you that if we lose this level, that is off the table. So, yeah, I'm not going to comment about the fundamentals of the story. Somebody just said, well, this thing only trades versus this and that and stuff like that. All I want to do is I just want to illustrate sort of that, remember that sort of forest through the trees kind of thinking. I know it sounds like a broken record because I've been sort of touting this for like the past year or so. I think that we're a hell of a lot closer to the bottom than the top on these markets, and I would argue that the market is actually buying this stuff up, and it's just really a question of, can you put yourself into a position to go ahead and actually take some shots here, because I like this market and I am buying. So that's one, right? And then the other one that I just and remember, these aren't guys that I'm actually bringing to your attention. These are names that the site members, everybody's posting. It starts like Joshua late yesterday. He posted this 8 chart deck of weekly W's. It was just like, holy crap! Look at them all. It's remarkable. I gotta say for the record, this is the first time in a long time I've actually gotten excited about the cryptocurrency space. Now, maybe I'm a sucker and I'm walking into a trap. I don't know. But I've been playing this game long enough that I can smell when we're getting near some sort of cyclical pivot. And I'm getting excited about this space again. It's been a long while. I mean, literally for the past 2 years, I've just been like, boring, nothing to do here. I'm off playing stock market now. I wanted to be a crypto. This whole point of this was crypto, and I'm off playing stocks and buying like, what the hell is that damn thing I bought, Kevin? Oriented strand board. Did you get, I don't know whether that thing's come back down to earth or not. I think Kevin's here, isn't he? Oh, he's not even on the call. Where are you, Kevin? Anyway, Kevin's my oriented strand board contact. So, I don't know where that, are you guys enjoying this? Is it amusing? I don't know. Look at this awesome one. Holy moly. I mean, I think this is the one that I tweeted out. I mean, this is absolutely textbook. I love it when you are so chipper. Okay, well, that's cool. You know, do you buy W's? Look at this W. Oh, my goodness. Take a screenshot of this. If you're sitting on YouTube and you're like, okay, what the hell does this clown keep going on about, right? I mean, take a screenshot of this. Here, I'll even make it easy for you, and I'll just cut and paste this. I mean, this is ridiculous. Learn this, people. And the weird thing is so many people on like the internet and stuff will say, oh, here's my secret trading formula. Here's my secret trading method. This isn't a secret. This is the universe's information. But it's my job to go, hey, everybody, this is the secret. But it's not a secret. It's actually staring you right in the face. It's just that it's so blatantly obvious that people just overlook it and they discount it. I mean, it's remarkable. So, I mean, you know, there's a W again. What's technical analysis job? You know, if we just went and bought right here, how am I supposed to know where I'm right and where I'm wrong? Do I have to ride it all the way down to the bottom? I mean, if you're a little old lady, okay, fine. But I sure hope you picked a half-decent trade location to take that shot. But, you know, do I have any sort of area where institutions said, you know what, the market's not going to go down anymore, it's going to go up, so I can at least let them defend my trade? Well, here, no. So, you know, maybe I see this little bottom come in. Okay, well, fine. You know, technical analysis is just going to simply say, all right, well, we've got a range. If we can get up through the top of the range, then you can buy there and you can risk against there, and you've got like a window where the market has sort of told you that bulls have come in and defended. Bulls have come in and defended. Turns out we never did break out through the top, so no signal was given. And it turns out those lows were negated and wronged. So you wait and wait and wait, and then you go, okay, well, you know, this Beamish guy and his crazy W's, here comes another one. So I'm going to sneak my way in here, and I'm going to risk against the low. That got you in, like, basically at the bottom. And you notice, like, through here, you're like, oh, I'm such a genius. Look at me. And then through here, you're like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Actually, you know, this is such a good example. This is where this whole technical analysis stuff really pays off. Right? Through here, if you didn't have the chart to help you, and you started seeing the price going down and down and down and down, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm ruined. This thing's going to zero. I'm toast. I'm toast. But because you had this W concept to work with, right, you can sit there and go, yeah, it's going down. But really, that's not the level at which the institution said that the bottom was in. The level at which they sort of proposed that the bottom was in was down here. The W. So if I'm going to buy the W, okay, well, I bought there, and I'm going to risk to here. So it's coming down. It's coming down. Well, no big deal. Yeah, it's coming against support. Yeah, well, you know, it's coming. All right, well, you know, I don't know what's going to happen if the guys who put the lows in here, if they are serious about this being a bottom, then they'll step in and defend it and don't do anything. No, well, you know, I got my stop down below here, you know. All right, okay, well, looks like somebody, you know, and interesting, you get these doji bars, which are kind of indecision. So you can see the bears kind of running out of steam here. And then all of a sudden, oh, hey, we're upticking. Turns out that these lows were for real. And then away we go, higher highs and higher lows. And it turns out it was a bull after all. So that's really the power of these W's versus just blindly buying a level. I mean, hell, you could have bought right, you know, like right here. How do I know if this is the bottom? How do I know whether my thesis that this is the bottom is right or not. You don't, and really you don't even know here. But at least psychologically you can say, okay, I've got a level that if it's broken, then I know I'm wrong and I just better walk away. Here, I don't have that level. I don't know where the hell the bottom is. And frankly speaking, nobody does. And sure enough, chung, 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 chung. Oh my God, I'm going broke. Oh, no. And then turns out here's the bottom. So a really cool example of just hunting W's, right? Never came in. Almost, nope, never came in. Hello, and I'm long off the bottom, and look at me, I'm a genius. Really, really good example. Now, yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, any W's for us to be buying now? No. If anything, what was really cool about this was we actually had even a trend continuation trade that we teach on the site develop off of this consolidation. Hopefully you can see the W here, and that set up really nicely for your trend continuation trade. But now we're getting actually near the end of this move, not the beginning. And of course, who do you think is going to be buying now? This is the sad part about capitalism. Sucks. I mean, geez, we saw it through 2017. Everybody saw it. Yeah. Yeah, the public, unfortunately, they're probably rah-rah buying up here now. Anyway, and I did see sort of lots of talk. And here's the kick in the pants. You want to see something really funny? Actually, I don't know whether we can see it on this chart or not. Yeah. What do you think? Has this thing got any room at all left to move up a little bit? The interesting thing, of course, is you can see these rally highs. We're coming into all of these highs. And we're actually coming into the original market structure failure level where the actual market did originally break down. So, I mean, on a shorter term basis, seeing resistance come in here, oh, gee whiz, good old mountain man. Going to be right off that original breakdown and those peaks. So it really shouldn't surprise us that resistance coming in here. And my hunch is you can kind of see this is what I like to call it. Well, not I mean it is. We like to call this a saucer bottom. So, and really the best trade ideas I found in my career all have saucer bottoms. So it looks something along these lines. I have no idea if this is exactly what the saucer looks like, but that's probably what it wants to somewhat look like. So, we rally up into reload short zones, mountain man levels, all that kind of stuff, the end of these bought targets. So people who traded off of the lows and even this continuation, they're taking profits. And you're probably going to find that, we could probably do reload zones heading back down to the lows, and gee whiz, what a coincidence. You can see that this reload lawn zone is going to intersect with that sort of saucer bottomy kind of thing right down in this area here. So for heaven's sake, don't chase. You're not allowed to chase. And if anything, you just got to let this thing settle down now. And, I mean, maybe the thing pops up here. Who knows? But if you do want to be a buyer, you got to wait for the consolidation. It might be just a quick consolidation like this, which sets up another leg higher. Who knows? But hopefully you can see how sort of a technician sort of identifies potential trade levels. Really, really good example. All right. I think that's about all I want to say today. It's already noon here, right? Somebody's saying BTC's pumping. Man! Hey, you can even hear it. There's the moon siren. Man! I'm not really seeing a hell of a lot to get excited about here. I think I had sort of said earlier that I do like the idea of AB equals CDs. I think I talked to you guys about this. I still think we're stuck in this range here, so maybe be a little bit careful when we get to the extreme ends of these ranges. Sitting sort of middle of the range. If we AB equals CD, I think we head up into this 78.6, which on stamp here is about 8,800, we'll call it. somewhere in there. So 85.49 up to 8,700. Man, I don't know. If you can make money off of this, awesome, go for it. But you better be, you better have your trading plan nice and vetted out. Again, like I had thrown these A, B equals CDs. I think we could probably do like a bot here. Boobity boo. Boom. And boom. But I think I've told you guys before, it's actually not really in your guys' on YouTube your best interest for me to be talking about these lower time frame setups. Because this whole thing, it's a 15-minute chart. It could change in like half an hour after I'm done the video. Everything has changed. But, what the hell. Just because I'm a glutton for punishment and I know somebody's going to criticize me. What the hell. Probably your bot looks something like that. What's that low? 85.0521. Well, that's pretty close. Certainly don't like the fact the VWAP's all the way down here. $80.05.05.23. Oh, I'm 2 ticks too high. So I'll keep this on, and after I come back from Liam, I'll just go on Twitter and update what happened here. But caveat emptor. Looks like that. Oh, interesting. That is a bot level there. I don't know who asked about that. EKZOTIC. If I was gun to my head, all that kind of talk. Not overly impressed with the trend line location here. But one low, 2 lows. Wouldn't mind a nice, polite third low come in here. But, I could completely understand if somebody pulled the trigger there off of 85.56.24. But we break that 85.05.21. You better get the hell out of there. So that's what I see in the short term. And I don't have a trading plan that says that I trade off 15-minute bots. It's just too fast for me. So, all right. I think that about summarizes everything I wanted to share with you guys. I see a lot of you guys talking about XRP. Who knows why, but let's go see what you got there. Where should we put this? Maybe over here. XRP. What do you guys look at this thing versus? Kevin? Do you have an exchange? Anything? Well, we can just, I personally like to look at these things versus USD. So, Coinbase! Colleen says, Coinbase! Because that's the only place I can trade as an American. I live in Soviet America, where Soviet America makes decisions for you. You do not make decisions for yourself. I bet you I'm gonna catch a whole shitload of shit for saying that. Soviet America. Take it easy, Jonas. All right, let's go look at. I got nothing there. I can't use that. Damn. I think I can like that Soviet America, where people with orange hair make your decisions for you. I better shut up. I'm gonna get myself into trouble. I don't know where the hell to look at this damn thing. What do you want me to look at it versus? You like my accent? Oh, there you go. What do you got here? U versus dollar USDT. All right. So USDT. That's Tether, right? So be careful using Tether. That's not actual real dollars. Here it is on Binance. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's a terrible chart. Fucking nothing to work with here. I mean, this thing has this. I don't know whether you're aware, but I remember talking about Cripple back in 2013. I remember one guy that I used to interact with on TradingView. He used to always say, "Oh, Cripple's the best for a remittance system." So it kind of pisses you off that these stupid trading sites and stuff only give you data through like May 2018. Well, how are you supposed to do that, right? You're not getting the full picture here. So that's the one thing that really kind of irks me. I was studying live hogs today because, hey, I'm a live hogs kind of guy. And the damn charts, they only go back into like 2003, and I've been trading hogs since the 1980s. It's so frustrating. So, these silly computers. Sometimes good, they're sometimes actually, they undermine you. So, I don't know where we're supposed to look at this. I know Trex and Polo, and then, like people go, Polo, what is this, 2015? But at least we have some data to work with here. So you can see where the floor is on Cripple, right down in this area here, right? And the problem with this thing, of course, is it's totally centralized, right? And there's basically just a few players that totally dominate the supply of this thing. So this is, and I'm not quite sure why people are so in love with this Cripple story, but I don't know whether you'd call it like a textbook actual like bona fide. I guess if it's like BSV and all those, right? I heard they dump XRP on people. Yeah, well, I mean, there's unlimited supply, I think, and the guys that actually run this thing, they control all the coins. But just from a levels perspective, ironically enough, the original range here, I think, actually defines your bottom. So we did get down into sort of interesting areas here a while ago. We V-bottomed off of the lows. Nice to see a little, bullish divergence here in price momentum. And, of course, Willie was nice and stupid. So, at that, interestingly enough, my conversation there with you guys earlier, do we really see any weekly W's here? What happens if I change this to a line chart? Can you see a weekly W? Can you, anybody? I mean, really, that's really the limit of my question right now. And unfortunately, as Peter just said in the lounge here, I don't see any. So, that's about the end of the conversation. I mean, how can I get bullish if I don't have any structure to work with? So, I don't know, guys. And because of the heavily manipulated nature of this thing, it's a bit suspect. I mean, I suppose you could say, yeah, but if I waited for a W here, I missed that. If I waited for a W here, I missed that. If I waited for a W here, I missed that. Yeah, you definitely could say that. It's not a name that I would be overly interested in. I don't really like the fundamental story. That's the fundamental problem I have with this, is I don't really like the fundamental story. So I think it's purely, I mean, like, could you make an argument location? Are we down at the bottom end of the range? Sure. You want to nanny nibble and just, average your way into this thing? Okay. Is there any sort of value metric that says one XRP is worth X dollars? I don't think so. So that's problematic. And then, of course, do I have like a technical setup, a weekly W's? And the answer I have there is no either. So, sorry, guys. I mean, like I said earlier, some people look at technicians and go, okay, well, you can predict the future, right? So that's your job. Tell me what's going to happen. And that's not really our job. Our job as technicians is just to simply try and use technical analysis to try and help us identify relatively high probability locations where the odds, if we take a shot, are skewed in our favor. Right now, if you took your shot here, I would say, like Grim, I love it with the level oneers, because he'll sort of approach a trade and say, okay, as more reasons come in for me to get more bullish, I can add more to my risk, and I'll start at like 0.5%. And if I have location, all right, I'll throw in 0.5%. If I have like a divergence, well, okay, I'll throw in another 0.5%. If I have structure, all right, well, I'll throw in another percent. If I already have all the structure in the weekly W's, okay, well, now I can start hunting like things like trend continuations or even daily double bottoms, right? I can throw in another 0.5%, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think at this point right now, this is sort of like, okay, well, you got location, so you could do a nanny nibble, really, really small, but there is no sort of trade setup here per se. So that's the way I would look at it. You asked my opinion? That's my opinion. Okay, I have no idea how long I've been blabbing here. I know we do like to get these things started up after the level oneers finished, and I think they finished. It could be. You want to add 1% on that, Colleen? All right. Do I actually have any weekly W's yet, though? That bothers me. So I don't have any structure here for a trade. Like, you could make the argument, all right, give me a W, and then I can start getting rock and rolly, right? That's not a bad way of looking at this. Okay, so Colleen just asked a question there right while I was right in the middle of my sort of wrapping this thing up, so I'll start that again. All right, I think we'll leave the free weekly show at that. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some value out of some of the things that I shared here today. Monday to Friday, of course, we have our hour and a half long, well, about an hour or so sessions with lots of interaction from site members. We have the lounge, of course, which is constantly hopping 24/7. Great global nature of this world. Any time of the day I wake up, there's usually people in there saying something, doing stuff. Constantly exchanging ideas. The ideas are just flying fast and furious right now, so I'm so pleased to see all that. We have, I guess, a new school term coming up in the new year. So if you want to position yourself and get yourself ready for what I consider the next cycle in crypto, because it sure feels like we're done. Most of the damage has been done in this space that was going to be done. There's probably going to be a few little sort of bombshells here and there still to come. Don't be surprised. But it sure feels like we are way closer to a sort of cyclic bottom here in crypto than the top. So that's encouraging. So if you want to sort of, if you need some help getting those trading plans, all set up and ready to go, really understanding what setups look like and, building multiple unrelated reasons to consider taking trades. Understand the different type of risk takers in the market and how they behave respectively. Please, feel free to consider joining our education program. I definitely think you get really good value for the amount of money that we ask for you to invest in TRI to help you. So that will be coming up in the new year. And also, too, actually, gentleman just joined the hangout here with me. You heard that bing bong. Getting super excited about options entering into the crypto space. We do have a little local group here in Vancouver that we're going to concentrate specifically on the options market in crypto. So that's going to be a whole new avenue for us to explore. through TRI. And of course, we have our options modules in our education program if you want to learn about all the ways you can blow yourself up trading options. And we've got our regular TRI SOF meeting Monday to Friday. I tell you some of those ideas that we're kicking around. And I got to tell you, man, the pharmaceutical stocks, oh my God, they're just on fire right now. Ironically enough, we have enough long exposure in the stock market right now that we're actually enjoying this quite surprising face rip higher here in stocks. So never, and actually, also too, you YouTubers, you should be aware of this. I was an old penny stockbroker for many years, and I was taught a model on how to invest in penny stocks by an old floor broker a million years ago. And this is the time of year that if you do want to invest in penny stocks, that we really need to concentrate, because there's a whole bunch of tax incentives that drive people to sell stocks at discounts. So we've got the VCIM up and rolling, and actually there's a couple really interesting crypto-related VCIM ideas. I'm long both of them, and I'm actually thinking about buying some more. One I've already got a double off of. Another one, tons and tons of insider buying at higher levels, and I love the look of these names. And I personally think that we've actually transitioned into the next growth cycle. So that's actually where I really want to make my fortune, is investing in all these junior crypto-related names on the stock market, because I think this coming cycle they will do exactly the same thing that the dot-com stocks did through that last cycle. So, ironically enough, if you want to position yourself for the next absolute insane face rip, whether it be through crypto itself, owning the coins, or whether it be through stocks and companies that leverage blockchain to grow earnings, now's the time. I mean, you literally could not have a better window, in my opinion. Everybody in the public is crying. It's you see the social unrest around the world. All of the media attention and focus on crypto is dissolved, and nobody's really interested in crypto anymore. So now's the time when you really want to position yourself for the next cycle. So get ready, everybody. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.